race forward for the unbreakable black man. Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Luke Cage Season 1. I finally watched the whole thing. I also have a cold, sadly enough, so yeah, I might sound a little bit different. However, that will not stop me from reviewing Luke Cage. And I will say this, it is a lot better on a second viewing than a first viewing. Because in the first viewing, I missed a bunch of stuff that this show sets up. And if you watch it again, you kind of get to fill in the missing pieces. However, this season is not perfect. So let's just get into the cast. So starting off, we got Sweet Christmas himself, Mike Coulter as Luke Cage. Carl Lucas is his real name, and we learn a lot more about him during this season, so I like that a lot because he already appeared in Jessica Jones Season 1. However, he was kind of underdeveloped in that season, but that's because he had his own show coming out. But what I saw from Jessica Jones Season 1, I was already a fan, and this just made me an even bigger fan of Luke Cage, also known as Power Man, which is a nickname that they kind of use to mock him, but more in the friendly way, and I do like that. But we get to learn everything, his whole backstory, and we get a good storyline, a personal storyline for him this season. And I very much enjoy a personal storyline. That is what made Jessica Jones Season 1 for me, because of the fact that that was a personal story, because of Kilgrave. This time, we have a personal story as well with one of the villains because, yes, sadly enough, we have two villains this season. And it's kind of like a Kingpin situation, but done so much worse. So let's talk about the villain, shall we? So starting off, we got Blade himself, maybe, possibly. Mahershala Ali as Cornell Stokes, also known as Cottonmouth. And my goodness, boys, whenever this guy is on screen, he dominates it. He is so entertaining to watch, and I loved him in this season. The problem is, he's not the main bad guy for the whole season. And maybe they should have casted them the opposite with the two villains, the opposite way around. Because I feel like Mahershala Ali, with what he did in this season, is a lot like would have been better as the main villain instead of playing like the main villain to a point until the actual main villain takes over. But Cottonmouth is the owner of the Harlem's Paradise, and he is also a gun trafficking businessman. So obviously Luke needs to stop him. Next up, for the other villain though, this is the main bad guy, we have Eric LaRae Harvey as Willis Stryker, maybe a fan of Wolverines, also known as Diamondback. And look, the actor does the best that he can. The problem is, he already got outshined by episode 1 because of Mahershala Ali. However, I do like him in this season. Diamondback is not actually a horrible villain. He's a kind of like a but the past type of villain, because everything bad happened in the past between Luke Cage and Diamondback, and saying anything more would potentially include spoilers, which I don't want to do. But he did feel a bit weaker in the motivation department, and in the charm on-screen department, he felt a lot weaker than Cottonmouth, and that is the big problem this season. Next up, we have Simone Missick as Misty Knight. Mercedes Knight, technically, but Misty is her nickname, so we're gonna go Misty Knight. And she is the bad booty woman in the show. She's a cop who initially goes after Luke Cage, but then sees his side. I liked her in the show. I did very much like her in the show. I also like how when things go wrong for her, you can really see that she is actually to blame. Like, everything that goes bad for her in the show, and technically also good, is technically because of her. Because she doesn't trust something, or because she trusts something too much. And I also love how they break her character down. She is not afraid to have a panic attack. And I like that, because it shows that she is actually human. Unlike a lot of female characters nowadays who are power women and just don't show any weaknesses. Misty actually becomes a lot more of a stronger character because of her weaknesses. And I love that about Misty Knight. Next up, we have Theo Rosie as Hernan Alvarez, also known as Shades. And he is very much a fan of Shades, because he keeps putting them on. And this guy is also charming. He is basically kind of like second in command throughout the show. He has a presence. He makes things happen, but there's always someone above him. So he's never gonna be the main bad guy. But I liked him in this show. He does also have charisma, And he has most certainly got a couple of shades. Next up, for the second to last main cast member that we're going to talk about, we have Alfred Woodard, hopefully I pronounced that right, as Mariah Dillard, the cousin of Cornell Stokes. And she goes through a lot in this season. And first of all, she's not a good person. Alright, she's not a good person. However, she does not want to be involved in the criminal enterprise. But the way that she gets involved, I do like that storyline. However, she's a horrible person. Like the character, obviously. The actress does a really good job. The acting is top notch. The problem is just Mariah Dillard is just kind of like Hogarth in that sense, where you are both just horrible people. You never officially are the main bad person, but you are still a bad person nonetheless. That's the way that I can describe it. But I do like the arc that she goes on, especially with her, I don't know, second in command, I guess. A guy named Alex. But I do like how they go through that, how the season where the season takes them. I like that about Mariah. And finally, for the main cast members. Now, this main cast member has been everywhere throughout the Defender Saga and will continue to be there in other Defenders Saga properties as well. We've seen her a lot in Daredevil. We've seen her twice, I think, in Jessica Jones. We have Rosario Dawson once again back as Claire Temple. And I swear to you guys, she has never been better than in this season, because the things that she gets to actually be involved, which is something that she did not really get to. Like on Daredevil and Jessica Jones, her role was basically she's the doctor. That's what she is. Here, she's not really the doctor, so she gets to do other things. And I really like Claire. And this is the season that made me actually really, really like her, because you really get to see her backbone in this season in one specific moment, which involves Misty Knight. I like that, and I love her in this series and also over the course of the Defender Saga. But I will say that this season does take a nosedive after a certain episode. Something manifests, and it just kind of goes downhill after that. And it's sad to say. I really think it's sad to say, because this could have been one of the greats. However, this is not a bad show. Not even close. Or even a bad season. We'll get to that one next time. I like the storylines that we get here. The problem is they are kind of underdeveloped in a way. Like, Cottonmouth is great, but Diamondback gets a bit underdeveloped. Like, he has a personal connection in some way to Luke Cage, but they don't really explore that. And that is the main issue that I have with this season. The lack of exploration between Diamondback and Luke Cage. That is my biggest issue. So let's just get straight into that final verdict. So my final verdict for Luke Cage Season 1 is actually higher than I thought it was going to be, because it's gonna be an 8 out of 10. Initially, I was thinking a 7. But after watching this season again, it is an 8 out of 10 for me. It is also because of the fact that when I first saw this season, I did not notice the setup that they did. Like, I thought Diamondback kind of was like Elektra in Daredevil Season 2. Where it's like, oh, now we're done with Punisher, let's go to Elektra. But no, Diamondback gets set up as soon as the first episode. He already gets mentioned. So there's always been that plan to have Diamondback be the main villain. The problem is just, Mahershala Ali is just so good. And sadly enough, Eric does not get to live up to that moment. But overall, like I said, I did love this season. I loved what they did with Luke Cage in this season. I like how they handle his backstory. The connection with the main villain is where it all falls apart. And funny enough, the last season he was on, that was the thing that was holding the whole thing together, which was Jessica Jones. Because the connection between Jessica Jones and Kilgrave was holding the season together. But here, the lack of connection between Luke Cage and Diamondback does kind of ruin it, sadly enough, because they just did not go far enough. But let me know your opinions on this season in the comment section down below. Did you love it? Did you not? Let me know. And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. And I do hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if not done so already. Turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel. Link in the description and at the end of the video. And we will be seeing Luke Cage very soon, actually. But first, we gotta push through some dirt in order to get to that point. And that dirt is what I like to call Iron Fist Season 1. Is it better than initially thought and what the internet keeps saying about it? Or are they correct? Or is it so much worse? The only way to know for sure is to find out next time in this MCU retrospective, because potentially there could be a movie review in between these two, so we'll have to deal with that. But after that, technically, the next thing is Iron Fist Season 1, so hopefully I'll see you guys for that one as well. Bye!